Well, we are back with another edition of Bird of the Week. We are talking about the cliff swallow. We're joined with Nick Lunn with Maine Audubon.
Hello.
Accompanied by some sirens
There
behind
we go.
us.
We were wondering when those would come up.
Nick, I will just say right now, you chose a bird that was hard for our birders to capture photos of.
We're getting deep. We're getting deep. Cliff swallow is not a backyard feeder bird. They're not one that's going to come in to the seed that you put outside. They are a special bird, a very cool bird. In the summer, we have a bunch of different swallow species that migrate all the way from South America up to Maine, and they spend the summer here, flying around, eating swallows out of the air. There are tree swallows that nest in fields, which you see maybe most commonly, but cliff swallows are cool. They nest, well, before humans, they would nest on cliffs. Now they mostly nest under bridges and in culverts. So they have sort of adapted to go to a really safe, comfortable place, which is underneath a bridge. They will, in the spring, they will go down, grab a bunch of mud in their beaks, and then start plastering it, build like a brick gourd-looking nest under a cliff, and then live in there.
And that's very unique for the swallow species. So let me get this correct. So we have the barn swallow, the cliff swallow, the tree swallow.
Look at you,
I don't know the other. Are there more?
Bank swallow is another one. Bank swallows nest in soft banks, like in river banks or sand banks like that. And then we have another one called purple martins, which is a bigger related bird that does sort of the same thing. They nest in gourds, human-made gourds that we leave out, or sometimes big mansions.
So I want to point out specifically, Dieter Schaefer took some photos
great job, Dieter.
Of the cliff swallow.
Yep.
Now, Nick, what are some of the key characteristic differences between the barn swallow? I see a tree swallow on our screen right now. So
cliff swallows look most similar to barn swallows. They're both sort of blue with some reddish on them. Barn swallows have that long tail, that long forked tail that is really evident for them. Cliff swallows don't. They have a cut off, flat tail. They have a red rump. So in flight, they're the only swallow that we have that has a light colored rump on the back. So that's the way, if you're on a bridge, a lot of times you see them, you'll be like on a bridge looking down and they'll be flying around below you. There's that bridge in Belfast, I know there are. The bridges all across Maine. And so look for that rump is the best way to do it.
And I noticed there's like a little white patch.
Yeah.
Is that also on the
That's really helpful.
cliff swallow?
Sometimes that's harder to see. It's pretty small. These guys are zooming around, flying really fast, sometimes flying high or low. And so, you can look for the light tan-colored forehead or the red rump helps.
So I'm telling you right now, I think I've seen some tree swallows along the beach.
Sure.
Is that like a known place for tree swallow species?
Tree swallows are probably our most numerous one. They're sort of a blue-green above and a white below. They flock in huge flocks along beaches, over wetlands, over meadows, places like that.
Now I think people will care about the swallow because they eat insects, right?
That's right.
What are they consuming on a daily basis, Nick?
Everything they can. And so these birds flock in the thousands or hundreds or thousands depending on the colony and just are taking everything they can. And so I don't know how many each one does, but it'll go all day long zipping around. But the thing about a lot of swallows and cliff swallows especially, they're not doing very well in Maine. Insects are on the decline because of pesticides and climate issues. Nesting on a bridge can be challenging if someone comes and renovates the bridge or whatever, so they face some of those issues. And so a big decline in cliff swallows and some of the other swallow species. Want to shout out Maine DIF&W's Nest Quest program, which is looking for people to report colonies when they see them, which is really helpful so we know where they are and maybe are not. But they're worth a look because they're so cool. They're not the normal birds that you see in your backyard. They're spending all their day flying around, and if you can see them, they build these cities under a bridge.
Yes, they do.
It's crazy.
The little mud encasings, right?
Yeah, like an adobe city underneath a bridge. It's pretty wild.
Are they migrating? Are cliff swallows? Okay, where do they go?
Yeah, they go way far. Is the thing. Yeah, they're tiny little birds. They will go down to southern Brazil, Argentina, and we also don't really know much about them on the wintering grounds. A lot of these birds are sort of mysterious in the winter. They're in jungles where not a lot of people are. And so if you're taking a trip to South America anytime, if you voted for February in that poll and you want to get out of here in February, go to Argentina, southern Brazil, look for cliff swallows, let us know where they are.
What's the call real fast? Do they have like a
chattering call? The calls of a lot of these swallows are
the
not super helpful. Well, they're similar enough where it's like let's get a few more birds of the week in, and we'll get some advanced call stuff in.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend the call. Merlin will help you with the call, but a lot of the swallows have sort of similar chattering, high-pitched calls. They're very talkative. Like I said, they are flying around in big flocks, and so they're constantly chattering to each other. But it's not one where you can be like, oh, that's a cliff swallow.
I had a funny story. The purple martin,
Yeah.
that very rare to see here in Maine, right?
Yeah, it is.
Someone must have set up a call box, and I thought I had just discovered a purple martin, but I think they were just trying to attract some purple martins to the area.
I get fooled all the time the same way. That's all right.
Well, Nick Lund, thank you so much for sharing some of your knowledge about the cliff swallow.
My pleasure.
Was awesome.
My
I just
pleasure.
learned about a new bird. By the way, everyone, next bird of the week is the saw-whet owl. If you have photos of this bird, please submit them on Chime In with #bird of the week. Love this segment. It's coming to a close soon, so get your photos in. Thanks, Nick.
All right.